Yo guys, what's up? Welcome to the Missing Piece, and today we are reviewing UFC 292, which happened this past weekend.
Yeah. So the first one was that we look at is the Brad Katona and the Cody Gibson fight. Even though it's not a main one on the actual cards, it was a tough event for the Ultimate Fighter, the final bantamweight fight.
Yeah,
It's Brad Katona and Cody Gibson. Brad Katona winning in decision, but unanimous decision, winning all 3 rounds quite comfortably. But to be fair, it doesn't really reflect that. If you look at the total strikes thrown, because I think there was only a difference of like 5. They both had a crazy amount of significant strikes to the head, to the body. Everything was thrown. There was little to zero ground game as well. But deserving of the title, deserving of the fight of the night,
yeah, 100%.
100%. Personally, I think both of them deserve a contract to the
Yeah,
UFC. To be fair, but it's a tough sport, so only one of them gets it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And obviously that this finale was the commencing of the Tough 31, where Katona was coached by originally Chandler on the veterans team. But
mhm.
then obviously, as he trains at SPG Island, which is obviously McGregor's gym in Ireland, he uh, I wouldn't say snaked Chandler, but obviously he joined up with McGregor's team, and
Yeah, I
obviously,
wouldn't say that either. I
yeah,
think it's just he went to his normal coaches, like it's just
yeah,
natural
yeah,
to gravitate towards the team.
he wasn't he wasn't comfortable with the atmosphere in the Chandler's uh side of things, so he went to obviously McGregor, and then he got coached by him, Kavanagh, and all those Owen
Mm,
Roney and things like that. But yeah, this fight obviously deserving of the, as you said, deserving of the fight of the night.
mm.
But obviously, in terms of round one, was like getting into the, well, I want to say getting into the grips of things, like feeling out each other. It wasn't like a feeling out process.
No, they were straight
It was,
into it.
yeah, it was straight into an insane pace throughout the whole
Literally,
entire round.
I think they threw like I think Cody threw like 50 punches or 50 strikes in the first round, and all of those strikes were significant strikes. And then
Yeah,
Brad as well
exactly.
threw like 40 strikes, and they were all significant strikes. They
Yeah,
were all like it was a proper serious fight straight off the bat.
yeah. I think round one I gave it to Cody when watching the
I
fight
think
on the
round
night.
one we gave it to Cody. Yeah,
Yeah, but then obviously in round two and round three, Katona picked up. I think Katona is known as he's known
mm.
as a cardio king. I think his
I think
nickname is,
for me
yeah,
round two was 50-50. Just looking
yeah,
at it, it was a
yeah,
bit. It could have gone either way. I don't know if I would agree with the unanimous decision, but then round three there was just such a much more dominating performance. But it was a bit. Yeah, man. I'd say it's more of a split decision to me rather than a
No,
unanimous one.
I'd say unanimous because I think Katona picked up his pace in round two, landed way more significant ones there, and then in round three, I was always all his round. But obviously, Gibson gave up a good fight. He was
I don't know. I don't. I think Cody Gibson landed more significant strikes.
in round two.
Yep. Because I'm pretty sure they threw
Oh yeah,
very similar
yeah,
total strikes. The only difference is the fact that Brand had better. I don't want to say stamina, but he looked more energetic, and
yeah. He's
he
known
was
as
the one
a,
that was doing all the attacking. He was the one that was pressuring him. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
like that obviously is it's not really scored, but it's taken into account, which is why I think they gave him the second round and obviously won the third round. But I think
yeah,
round two could have went either way. Um,
yeah.
I know one judge scored it 30-27, which I
Which
don't think
is
it was,
we. I
which is
don't hundred
I
percent
don't
not say
agree with.
27.
It was 29-28
Yeah,
throughout all three. So
yeah.
yeah,
I added 29-28 to
yeah.
Katona. But yeah, obviously Katona won the bantamweight size of things for the tough 31.
Mhm.
But both fighters should be ending up with the contract. Obviously, Katona's got one, and I
Mhm.
heard Dana White in his post-fight press conference saying that everyone's blowing his phone up, saying that, oh yeah, Cody Gibson should get a contract. So yeah, I think Cody
Yeah,
Gibson is going to get signed by the UFC soon.
yeah, he deserves it.
But yeah, Katona made history on that night. So obviously, as I said before, Katona is from SPG Island, and obviously McGregor was the first ever two-weight world champion in the UFC,
Mhm.
and Katona replicated that on the tough scene. So
Mhm.
obviously he won. He's now a two-time tough
Champion.
champion. So yeah, both fighters from SVG Island.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I think
yeah,
the
all right.
next one was the lightweight division for the Tough Championship,
Yeah, yeah,
and Austin Hubbard did well, but got submitted in the second round.
yeah. In the second round, yeah.
Second
That
round,
that
Kurt
Kurt
Holloway.
Holloway, yeah, Kurt Holloway. I think in when watching his
He's
tape in the
yeah.
tough one of the tough episodes, he fought on one of the MSG cards. So yeah, fair play to him.
I mean, I was watching the fight where he had his semi-final fight
Yeah.
when he threw that
Oh, against
combination
Jason
up
Knight.
against
Yeah,
yeah, against Jason Knight when he threw against that cage, and he had that
yeah,
right hook, left hook to the head, hit him again, then that liver shot to drop, and then just deep elbows was that was a serious fight. I think from then
yeah,
on is when people really knew he was made different.
yeah. That combination that you just
Yeah.
said, obviously it reminded me of the Gaethje vs Johnson. I think that was. I wouldn't
Mm.
say I'm not accurate on this. I think what I'm saying. I think,
Mm-hmm.
but that might have been Gaethje's debut in the UFC against Michael Johnson years ago.
Mm.
But yeah, that combination that Kurt threw on
Mm-hmm.
Jason Knight reminded me of when Gaethje threw that combination on Johnson against the cage.
Yeah.
Which yeah, yeah. All right,
I think
let's get
yeah.
into
It's
the
time.
main card.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Starting
opening,
off.
yeah, opening up the main card was Marlon Chito Vera and Pedro Munoz in the
Which
bantamweight
went
division.
exactly how we said it was going to go.
Yeah, yeah. I think I had it. I think I had it. I think looking at back at my prediction was a bit stupid, but I had it Cheeto winning by TKO. But obviously Cheeto is known for his slow starts, so
Mm,
which obviously as soon as round one ended, I was like, yeah, this guy ain't getting the finish in round two. So
mm.
that's my prediction out the window. But yeah, Cheeto is always usually known for his slow
Yeah,
starts.
I think I had him was going to the distant.
Yeah, decision.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
But yeah, Pedro, he's always a fast starter. So round one, he set the pace.
See, I thought it'd come out a bit quicker, but they were exactly the same in terms of like numbers and what they threw and stuff. But I think watching the fight, both of them were just very quick to come out the blocks.
Yeah,
And I,
I think Pedro in the round one.
mm,
I think obviously he was setting the pace, but in terms of like strikes
yeah,
thrown in round one,
yeah, it was
um, it
fairly
was very fairly similar because I think Pedro was just the pressure fighter, just landing, but
mm,
not necessarily landing on the opponent, just throwing
yeah, he was just
shots.
throwing strikes.
Yeah, just throwing strikes. Whereas Cheeto's probably be like, oh yeah, I don't want to throw for the sake of it. I want to throw and land.
Mm,
So I think Pedro obviously put the pressure on. Cheeto is usually the slow starter, so he was like just picking his shots and stuff.
mm,
But yeah, but then obviously as soon as round two hit, Cheeto just landed more shots than in round one, and
mm,
his jab in round two, and obviously in round three was truly exceptional.
mm.
Yeah,
So yeah, like we were saying, yeah, Marlos Vera is a guy that picks up quite late. So that's why
yeah,
in round three it was pretty much his.
yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Literally.
yeah. Overall in that fight, I had it 29-28 to Cheeto,
Hmm.
which I think most
I think there was a
well one judge.
30-27. Two judges did
Yeah,
30-27.
I think on the when watching it, I think Joe Rogan was saying that, oh yeah, those two judges that had it 30-27 was a bit iffy, like
I
it was a bit of an iffy decision.
The only time I think I'd give that, I don't think I don't think there's a point where I'd say it's a 30-27.
Yeah, it was 29
Maybe
28.
maybe round three you could say a 10-8 rather than 10-9, but I think even that's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't think Cheeto necessarily dominated the
Mm,
fight or
no.
controlled it. He was just picking shots very well,
Mm,
just maintaining the distance, especially in
mm,
round two and three, picking
mm,
his jab. I think his jab was the best shot for him
mm,
on that in that fight. So yeah, deserved win for Cheeto, and obviously we're gonna go into the main event very shortly. But Cheeto, as he won, he's immediately calling for the rematch with. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, rematch between him and
mm,
SEANO'MALLEY. So we'll get into that in a bit when we go into the
mm,
main event. But yeah, the next one is between Neil Magny and Ian Machado Gary in the welterweight division. It was the featured bout of the main card before the two title fights. But
mhm.
yeah, what are your thoughts about on this fight?
It went exactly the way we said. I think the only thing we said is that Ian was going to knock him out, but he didn't.
Yeah, I think he was looking for it, but
Yeah,
I think the
100%.
Magny is very, very durable.
Yeah, I think it was definitely was looking for it, but I think Ian just fought very like outside the cage, coming in, picking his shots, throwing strikes from different angles.
Yeah,
Just I think it was just the total domination. Like the unanimous decision was perfect. Like
yeah, 100%.
I think the 26-30, the 26-30, the 24-30 were very given as well. Maybe a bit different, but
Yeah,
I think he
that one
dominated.
judge that had it 30-24 was a bit outrageous,
That one was very outrageous.
but I understand where he's coming from. Like, I don't. If it was obviously if it was 10-9, 10-9, 10-9 to Ian Garry, it would have been 30-27. So
Mm-hmm.
that means I think that judge who scored it 30-24 would have had it
10-6,
10-8 every single
10-8.
round.
Yeah, 10-8 every single round.
Yeah, which is obviously I think it's understandable because Ian Garry, I'm a
I mean, he threw double total strikes.
yeah,
Like it
like
was
his
unbelievable.
he was literally controlling the fight, pressuring Magny
Mm-hmm.
against the cage, and obviously from the very get go, Ian Garry noticed a chink in Magny's armor. Like he was just thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna leg kick this guy. So yeah,
Yeah, he
leg
abused
kicks
those
after
legs.
leg kick, and I
Yeah,
think after two leg kicks, Magny's leg was busted.
yeah. Like it was crazy to be fair. Like every
Yeah,
time he kicked his leg, I was like,
yeah,
come on, that's dangerous.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
And I think he pretty much landed all of his leg kicks as well. I don't think he missed one.
yeah. And
I
there was
think I saw some on Twitter as well.
and there was no telegraph on them. Like Magny didn't know when it's coming because
Mm.
Ian Garry, I think when he throws it,
Mm-hmm.
his obviously when you in a stance that Ian Garry's fighting in, his hips don't necessarily move like a lot, even though obviously he's fainting
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But when he's leg kicking, his hips don't necessarily move like very fast. So obviously Magny or any opponent that Ian Garry's fighting, you can't necessarily tell that, oh yeah, this guy's throwing a leg kick. I can't
Mm-hmm.
check it as soon as possible. So that's what, yeah, Ian Garry. I think Ian Garry's been maybe working on that, like in terms of throwing it
Mm.
effectively rather than, oh, let's just throw it for the sake of it.
Yeah,
But yeah, the whole fight was
pure domination.
pure pure domination from a kickboxing point of view. Leg kicks, distance
Mm.
management, punches, jabs, hooks, and yeah, it was a complete striking masterclass.
Actually,
Would you say, obviously from that performance, obviously he's gonna break into the top 10 now?
I think now
Um,
he has to fight top 10.
yeah, yeah, we'll get onto who he's fighting
Oh,
in a
100%.
in a bit,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that, oh yeah, from that kickboxing masterclass, well, that striking masterclass in general,
Mm-hmm.
do you think Ian Gary's up there with the best strikers in the UFC?
But the best strikers, oh,
Yeah,
he's getting there. I won't lie to you, he's getting there. If he keeps
yeah,
fighting the same way, we won't have a choice but to put him in there. I think at
yeah,
the moment he hasn't fought someone in the top 10, top 5 for me yet.
yeah,
So we got to see how he compares to those guys. But if he keeps beating them the same way he's beating these guys, there's no way that we can't put him in that
yeah,
category.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he's just not there yet, but
Mm-hmm.
eventually he will be. I think because he's showing signs of an elite striker already,
Literally,
and he's undefeated at 13 in a row. So
yeah.
he's always going up and beyond in terms of where he fights and stuff. And obviously he's a fan favorite, I think, as well. So, and it's obviously he's from Ireland, so obviously he's going to get a lot of comparisons.
You do know it.
Yeah, he's going to get he's going to get a lot of comparisons between with Conor McGregor. So yeah, in okay now in terms of next opponent,
Mm-hmm.
when in the Octagon interview
Mm-hmm.
with Joe Rogan at the end of the post fight,
Yeah,
he called out Wonderboy for,
yeah.
yeah, I think it was either MSG or in December.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on Wonderboy call up?
I think it works for him. I think him fighting Wonderboy is a brilliant strategy for him to beat Wonderboy would be an amazing feat. Um,
Yeah, I think
especially
he did
him. I think
say,
Wonderboy being in top 10 ranks. I think he's seventh, sixth, something like that. If I'm correct.
yeah. Let's have a
Um,
quick look at the rankings.
I'm pretty sure he's sixth or seventh. So him fighting one of those guys.
Yeah, he's seventh. Yeah,
Fighting him would obviously help Ian by a lot, especially if he wins, putting him into the top 10.
yeah. Ian's number 11 at the moment.
Yeah. So I think from a Wonderboy's perspective, no, I wouldn't fight him because I know if I fight, Shavkat or Bilal or Hamza, and I beat one of
Yeah,
them, I'll probably be in line for the title. Um, so
agreed.
I think him fighting Ian is a bit of a backward step, but for Ian, I think it'll be like 100% the way forward.
Yeah, I think obviously if Ian wants to get into the mix in terms
Mm,
of title contender, obviously he's not a title contender just of yet. I think maybe two or three more fights potentially. But
mhm.
Wonderboy is definitely the stepping stone to him to get into the top five or five top five if he
Yeah,
beats Wonderboy. But I think his narrative, Ian Gary's narrative after the fight was like, oh yeah, if I want to be known as the best striker or one of the best strikers, I have to take out
the
one of the
best.
best strikers currently in the UFC, and obviously that's Wonderboy.
Literally.
So, but yeah, obviously this fight with Neil Magny, I think Neil Magny took it on a short notice. I think maybe
Yeah, I think it's
eight,
10
seven or
days.
eight. I think it was 8 to 10 days notice, yeah,
Mm,
something like that. But
so, yeah.
before it was Jeff Neal. So
Yeah,
Jeff Neal does make sense for Ian Gary to fight next week. Obviously, Jeff's ranked eighth,
I think he
but
beats him as well. Just throwing it out there
I
if
think
Ian wins.
I'd agree with. I think Ian's more lengthy fight. He maintains the distance very well. I think the only advantage that Jeff maybe would have is his power.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think that Ian is too quick. Not
yeah,
necessarily too quick for it, but I think he will be able to move out that way for those big power shots.
yeah,
Um, and Ian has quite decent jiu-jitsu as well, especially the fact that Neil lost to Shavkat by rear naked choke. So I think if Ian works on those ground game even more, I think it's just a problem for Neil, for
yeah,
Jeff.
yeah, yeah. And we haven't seen Ian's ground
Mm.
game in the UFC, so it would be good to see him against even maybe even Sean Brady. Sean Brady's a very very good wrestler. So even Sean Brady versus Ian would be a very good matchup. Typical
Definitely.
striker versus wrestler matchup. So yeah, but yeah, Ian.
Next, let's go on to the
Uh,
next one.
yeah. All
The,
right, the next one. First,
my
the two
favorite card. Oof.
fight,
First of
not
the
card.
main events. But yeah, no, Zhang Weili, Amanda Lemos.
Yeah,
Wow,
and Amanda Lemos. Yeah,
let's get it.
yeah. All right, yeah. So obviously, this was the co-main event for the strawweight title. Obviously, Zhang Weili and still she
Hmm.
retained her strawweight championship. But in terms of how the fight went, um, Zhang Weili executed a very very good game plan, which was straight away going for the grappling exchanges early
Hmm.
on. So Weili landed on top straight away, controlled Lemos on the ground, and obviously effectively landing ground and
Mm.
pound, left
Yeah.
hooks, left hands on the floor. But consequently, for those ground and pound, Lemos locked in a DOS choke
Hmm.
early on. And from looking at the fight, Lemos was squeezing hard. She was trying very, very hard to lock in the DOS.
Yeah.
But I think Lemos might have gassed out a bit, like with her hands, made so then obviously Zhang popped her head out.
Yeah.
So
I think she blew way too much of her energy at the very start.
yeah, and then resulting in that um uh, DOS choke that
Mm.
she lost. Zhang really landed on top, and well, once again going back to grappling exchanges, Zhang really executed back mount, flattened Lemos out, and just taking the back, and obviously just raining down punches.
Actually.
Yeah. So then obviously that was the first. I think that was the first round, and then obviously after the first round, Lemos started growing into the fight a bit, like in the first few minutes of round two,
Yeah.
but Jung once again took her down, and obviously
Dominance.
just heavy top pressure, and once again overpowering Lemos.
Hmm.
But and then obviously in round four, Lemos had a little bit more success,
Yeah.
but Zhang took her down. Zhang really took her down again, and eventually getting her career best takedowns in a fight, which is a six in a fight. So that's a personal best for Zhang Weili in a UFC fight. So that's
Yeah.
that means that Zhang Weili does have a lot of, like, her wrestling base is very, very good. I think a lot of people have doubted her before, but obviously she's got, and obviously Amanda Lemos being a very, very good jiu-jitsu practitioner. Zhang Weili just raining down shots, heavy top pressure, which obviously Lemos only had one submission threat, but effectively Zhang Weili came out of it successfully.
I mean, especially round 5, was it? Where it was like 100 and something strikes to one. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking about strikes,
Yeah.
it was the largest total strike differential in the women's fight. So
Yeah, I think it was what, like 260 strike difference or something.
yeah, it was a
Stupid, crazy.
267 difference.
Yeah, 267. There you go.
Yeah, I think the fight before that was, I think, I don't know, can't remember. I remember who, I know it was Valentina Shevchenko,
Mhm.
but I don't know who her opponent it was. But I know Zhang Weili, and this co-main event broke that
Mm.
record. So yeah, yeah, just Zhang Weili just doing what she is doing, what she's best at, which obviously is just controlling everywhere where the fight goes.
Crazy.
Yeah, and
What
yeah,
happened
okay.
next then?
Now speaking of that, before we get into the main event,
Mm.
um, who do you think is next for Zhang Weili?
At this point, I honestly think she could do whatever she wants. Like, it's got to the point where I think she's done with the strawweight. Um, I think it's time to maybe move up. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
Um, again, it depends um, if she wants to move up, but at the same time, I think it's very dependent on how she wants to do it. Literally, do you know what I mean?
I think there's potentially, if you're looking at having a look at the rankings in the strawweight division,
Mm.
I think there's potentially maybe two
Mm-hmm.
worthy contenders.
Mm.
I think the obvious one is obviously Tatiana Suarez,
Yeah.
but another opponent is another Chinese fighter, which is Yan Shannan. And just imagine picturing this if it gets booked.
Okay.
Zhang Weili versus Yan Shannan in China.
What in their back garden?
Yeah,
Crazy.
that would sell huge over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think when one of the questions posed to Dana White in the post-fight press conference,
Mm-hmm.
one of the journalists asked Dana, saying that in China, when Zhang Weili was fighting Amanda Lemos, apparently, like, the trend or the social media trend over there when Zhang was fighting was like 1 billion plus. So
That's
just imagine if two Chinese fighters come
mm.
together, fight for the title in China, and that will do insane numbers over there.
I think it'd be one of the biggest pay-per-views ever.
In terms of, I wouldn't say pay per views. Obviously, pay per views, but mainly like American audience and stuff. Yeah,
I think they'd tune in though. Same way we do that too for the American cards and worldwide cards as well.
yeah. But I think in terms of like social media trend and Chinese popularity, it will literally boom. It will boom everything.
Mm-hmm.
It will increase everything because obviously,
100%.
yeah, and yeah. So yeah, Zhang really has, like, maybe has two worthy opponents. So I don't, obviously it's not her to choose.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously because she's a champion. I
Mm-hmm.
think if I were to predict, I'd probably say it might be Yan Xiaonan for the to fight Zhang Weili next.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. So let's go into the biggest fight of the card, the
Yeah.
main event. Aljamain Sterling versus
Mm.
Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, typical striker versus wrestler matchup. And the first round was a feeling out process.
Mm.
Um, just getting to know. Oh yeah, Aljo was like, oh yeah, it's getting to know what Sean O'Malley can do on the feet, like in terms of feints, just reading the movements and stuff.
Mm.
Um, As in, eventually the judges scored round one to Aljo 10-9, which
Yeah,
is
I don't know.
understandable.
I think yes, because of the fact that it was he was throwing more strikes. It was just a bit more controlled. So I think
Yeah,
yes, he
that's
wins 10-9, and the fact that when obviously the media told Sean after he won, and he was like, "Oh, like he disagreed." I don't
yeah,
know why he disagreed. I think he won. I think he lost the first round.
yeah.
Um,
I think the clinch work at the end of
mm,
round one for Aljo. I think that's what
mm,
maybe won him that round because obviously you're controlling your opponent on the cage
yeah,
against the cage. So yeah, but yeah, in round two, 51 seconds knockout. Sean O'Malley with a perfect right
Aljo.
hand straight down the pipe, which obviously flatlined Aljo, and obviously the ground and pound took over, and Sean
Mm.
O'Malley and new Bantamweight Champion of the world.
Literally, just like Connor did against Jose Aldo.
Exactly. Yeah.
Collective.
Speaking about, yeah, I think our post fight um in the ESPN review show, they were
Mhm.
they were doing a side by side of McGregor KOing Aldo and obviously Sean O'Malley KOing Aljo. And
It was both
yeah,
just perfect counters.
yeah, perfectly identical, just the other way around. Sean O'Malley doing it with the right hand, whereas McConnell was doing it with the left hand.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think now Aljamain, he's gonna demand a rematch. Of course, he is.
but I think
Um,
when Joe Rogan asked him the question, funny
mm,
enough, Aljo
mhm,
didn't speak anything about a rematch. But I think in post fight with the media
mm,
backstage, he demanded a rematch. But speaking about the comments that he made with Joe Rogan in the octagon after the fight,
yeah, yeah,
um, he said obviously Aljo was well, he was speculating even before the fight even happened. Well, during
mm,
fight week, he was saying that, oh yeah, once I win this fight, I'm gonna go up to 145 and fight obviously Volkanovski for the featherweight
mhm,
title. But obviously, as he lost,
mm,
uh, Joe Rogan posed him a question saying that, oh yeah, you were thinking about going up to 145.
mhm,
So does that hinder your plans, or are you still thinking of going up? And
yeah,
Aljo straight up honestly said that, oh yeah, if I go up and face Volkanovski, God knows what he will do to me because Sean just did that to me. Imagine what
mm,
Volkanovski would do to me. So, in terms of what Aljo's comments are saying there, overall, the way he's handling the loss is like a
mm.
proper champion.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he said it as well. Like he's not gonna um, cheat Sean out of that victory and be like, "Oh, I wasn't 100%," which I understand. It,
Yeah,
but
he brought up TJ Dillashaw's name, saying that, oh yeah, TJ
yeah,
Dillashaw had a lot of excuses. So I'm not. He was like, I'm not. I don't want to be a TJ. I'm straight and being honest here.
yeah. So I think he was right to say obviously being fair and square, but yeah, I think 100% he's gonna rematch to try and get that belt back in.
Yeah, if the rematch doesn't happen, speaking about future opponents for Sean, and now he's a champion. Um,
Mm,
Obviously looking at the rankings,
mm,
obviously number one contender is um, well, it still is obviously it's Aljo, but obviously he beat Aljo, but
yeah,
technically the number one contender is Marab. There's
yeah. I think.
Cejudo, there's Cejudo, there's Sandhagen, Petayan, there's
Mm,
Cheeto. So out of those names there,
mm.
who would you favor to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley? And he's looking for a fight in December.
I think first and foremost he fights Aljo again, no matter what.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say that as well.
I think if he beats him again, then I think he beats Marab. No, actually, I think he fights Marab. If he beats him, then he fights Henry Cejudo.
But there's a lot of obviously Sugar Sean O'Malley wants Cheeto. I think
Mm-hmm.
the fans
They also
want
want
Cheeto
Cheeto. Yeah.
because obviously Cheeto beat. But I wouldn't necessarily say beat because Sean got injured in
Mm,
that fight, and obviously it was
mm,
a unanimous victory for Cheeto.
mm,
But yeah, I think Sean wants that rematch with Cheeto to avenge that loss. So it does make sense,
mm,
but I think Cheeto needs to maybe fight. Obviously, he lost to Corey Sandhagen.
mm.
Maybe Cheeto fighting. Cejudo, but I don't think Cejudo's interested. I think Cejudo's only interested in title fights.
Yeah, I think Cejudo doesn't want to fight his way back to a title. I think he just wants to fight in a title fight.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think in terms of that, obviously Sean O'Malley as a champion now. He is only the second champion to come from Dana White's Contender Series. Obviously, the first being Jamal Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's another piece of history.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from the Contender Series. That Contender Series is absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah.
A lot of young fighters. Well, I wouldn't say
Mm-hmm.
necessarily young fighters. I would say a lot of fighters that got up from the Contender Series coming into the UFC
Mm-hmm.
have proven themselves. Like another one that potentially could prove himself. I think he's 2-0 in the UFC now. Is Bo Nickel. So obviously he's got a wrestling base, but can
Yeah.
he work on his striking? So let's see from there.
I think Bo Nickel is going to be one to definitely watch out for.
Yeah, 100%. He's got that hype. He's got that hype in terms of being the most successful wrestler in the UFC
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like NCAA and stuff like that, state
Mm-hmm.
division champions and stuff like that. That's what he is.
Literally.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, that's the review of UFC 299. No, UFC 292.
yeah.
Um, hope you guys obviously enjoyed the fights on that night. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll be back with another preview for UFC 293,
Mm-hmm.
which is another big fight between
Aljamain Sterling. No, not Aljamain
no, no,
Sterling.
no,
Is it
Israel,
Adesanya?
yeah, Israel
Bella
Adesanya,
Bender.
Israel Adesanya
Yep.
versus Sean Strickland. So yeah,
Gonna
we'll
be
do a preview of
best.
that
Gonna be the.
main. We'll
I
do a
think it's
preview
gonna
of that main
be.
card.
I think it's gonna be the best conference ever
Yeah,
between those two.
with that press conference, that whole fight week in general, not just the press conference, that whole fight week in general is going to be insane. It could be one of the best fight weeks ever because you know Sean Strickland's going to talk. You
Yeah.
know Izzy's going to talk.
Yeah.
So we'll preview that once it comes to fight week for
Mm-hmm.
that event. So yeah, we'll do a preview of that.
I
Anyways,
hope that. I hope that what's his name? Duplessis is there. I can't remember his name. The guy that beat
that's
Robert
South
Whittaker.
African.
Yeah, he's gonna say he's the real African.
But yeah,
But yeah, so that's it.
yep. All right. See you guys for the preview for UFC 293 shortly in the
See
next
ya.
2-3 weeks.
See
See
ya.
ya.